She needs to be on a better team.
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season.
There are already plenty of players heading overseas during the off-season, but ESPN is particularly upset about Caitlin Clark's new European contract, acting as if they have any say in her choices. They don't. Clark made her decision and isn't looking back, no matter how much they complain or plead. What? Because Caitlin Clark respects herself and knows her worth better than the WNBA's leadership does. She's not going to stay in a league that can't even protect its top players. Why should she?
First time ever, they have a superstar in this league that not only has the ability to draw a mainstream audience, she also has the ability to play actual basketball.
Caitlin Clark has been roughed up by players, ignored by refs, and targeted by haters who couldn't stand that she was single-handedly keeping this struggling league afloat. Despite all of this, the WNBA failed to step up and protect its brightest star, and now they're paying the price for it.
Going to be a significant amount of less fans watching the WNBA now that Caitlin is no longer in the picture.
Now that Caitlin Clark is no longer in the picture, everyone's losing their minds. Sorry ESPN, your golden goose is gone, and all you've got left is a nest of missed opportunities. Clark just dropped a bombshell on the WNBA, and it's almost amusing how ESPN suddenly pretends to care now that she's choosing Europe. She's done with the WNBA circus act and is heading overseas, leaving behind broken dreams and shattered egos. After carrying the league all season, enduring brutal fouls and getting body checked like she was in a hockey game, she's finally had enough. And honestly, who can blame her?
She talks a lot, and she gets a lot of back. So she deserves everything she gets because she gives it as good as she gets. She's just not built for the physicality of this league.
This isn't just any player making a career move. Remember Caitlin Clark's final game against the Connecticut Sun? She dropped 29 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds, practically a one-woman show, while her teammates fumbled around missing open shots and making mistakes that would embarrass a high school team. And what did the WNBA do? They let the refs treat her like a punching bag, standing by and doing nothing. Fans didn't come to watch a UFC match, but that's exactly what the WNBA turned into whenever Clark stepped on the court.
It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist.
Now ESPN and their so-called experts are finally waking up. How convenient. Suddenly they've realized they had a cash cow all along. Before Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever struggled to draw 3,000 fans per game, making it feel more like a neighborhood block party than a professional event. But once she hit the scene, that number skyrocketed to 177,000 fans packing the arena every game, a massive 400% increase. It's like they didn't notice until she was gone, and now they're scrambling to figure out how they let this happen.
Years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. That's almost 10 times. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark. I think she should be up for MVP.
How's that for impact? The WNBA didn't just have a star. They had a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. But instead of celebrating the player who single-handedly put them on the map, they were more focused on spreading the wealth. They let the golden opportunity slip through their fingers, too busy trying to treat everyone equally when they should have been building the entire league around Caitlin. She wasn't just another player. She was the face of the WNBA, and now she's gone, taking all that momentum with her.
No, the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA is surging in popularity. I know analysts like Monica McDougal at ESPN. They want us to recognize elite layup missers and failed dunkers. But what Casey has been telling you guys all season, it has been true. What I have said countless times over the past few months, it is finally being proven without a shadow of a doubt. Caitlin Clark is a megastar. Caitlin Clark is a box office draw, while the rest of the WNBA, it is nothing but a polished turd.
And let's not forget the merchandise sales. Caitlin Clark's jersey outsold everyone in WNBA history, surpassing legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. We're talking about a rookie, a first-year player beating out Hall of Famers. That's not just impressive, it's historic. She single-handedly turned the WNBA into must-see TV, and her games became national events. But did ESPN ever treat her like the superstar she is? No. Instead, they gave her lukewarm coverage, acting like she was just another player. Now they're scrambling, trying to act like they didn't completely sleep on her. Too late, ESPN. You missed the boat and it's already sailed across the Atlantic.
Ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
Let's talk viewership. That game against the New York Liberty pulled in 1.5 million viewers, more than some NBA games on TNT. Now that Caitlin Clark is gone, what's left? Empty seats, dusty jerseys, and a bunch of ESPN talking heads wondering how they fumbled the easiest win in sports broadcasting history. Caitlin Clark faced a nightmare in the WNBA, and now that she's decided to pack up and head to Europe, it's almost comical to watch ESPN and everyone else suddenly scrambling to pay attention.
The argument for Caitlin is that it would have been a great marketing opportunity, and you don't have basketball experience or chemistry with the group listed in your reasoning. I don't want to.
The physicality Caitlin Clark faced in the WNBA was beyond brutal. Forget defense. It felt like she was stepping into a street fight every time she laced up her shoes. She was hammered, shoved, elbowed, pretty much every dirty trick in the book. And how did the league respond? By pretending nothing was happening. Imagine being a rising star, the face of a franchise, and the league treats you like a punching bag. No protection, no accountability, just letting her take the hits while they look the other way.
I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving. Because I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented, and we're not putting the best.
And don't even get me started on the officiating. If you watched any of Caitlin Clark's games, it looked like the refs were playing see no evil, hear no evil while she got manhandled on the court. Caitlin herself has acknowledged the intensity, saying, "I don't hate Caitlin. It's just a super competitive game." She wishes people understood that once she gets between those lines, there are no friends. She loves Caitlin and admires her game, but she also said she felt hammered out there. And what did the WNBA do? They shrugged it off like it was just another Tuesday. The infamous iPook incident should have been a wake-up call for everyone, but instead, the WNBA turned a blind eye, pun intended, acting like it was normal for a star player to get treated like an outsider in their own league. Here's a woman who became the biggest star in sports earlier this year, soaring through the NCAA tournament, and then just a week after the WNBA draft, she's expected to be in a training camp and playing WNBA games by early May. The ratings flew through the roof during the draft, and it was clear to anyone paying attention that Caitlin was the biggest star in sports. Yet, instead of recognizing her impact, the league continued to allow her to be treated like she didn't matter.